Hi, are you an author, and do you know that you have to increase your newsletter in order to get more sales and more profits, but you're tearing your hair out trying to build that elusive database? Well, with me today, I have got Evan Carl, Carl, that's how you pronounce his surname. And he's going to be sharing a little bit with us about Storyorigin. Now, this particular product excites me a lot. I am an author. I'm the author of the book series, The Chronicles of Nadine. My name is Kim Famark. And one of the big challenges that I found was growing that database. I knew I could do newsletters, but I had no idea how to find people in my genre to grow my database. And just before Evan shares a little bit about it, I have to tell you that since I started, which was only this year, my newsletter subscription base has increased by 219%. So I just want the other authors to really know what it's all about. Evan, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate your time. And I want you to just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you thought of coming up with this product.
Yeah. I'm the indie developer of Storyorigin, like you said. So I'm the guy that both builds it, and if you get any emails from Storyorigin, they're coming directly from me. So you can always reply to them with questions that you have. I know, Kim, you've sent me replies to emails that you get as well. But yeah, so the reason that I started Storyorigin was because I sort of looked around at what authors were doing with their marketing, and realized that they had all of these different tools that they were having to use. So they used something to build their mailing list. They used something else to get reviews for their books. They used something else for doing newsletter swaps, something else for creating, universal book links. There's a whole ton of different platforms that you could use for your author marketing. And I was just like, there's a problem here, right? Where it's so fragmented. You have to have 8 different sign-ons, and you have to have 3 different spreadsheets, and you're keeping track of stuff with Google Forms and Bitly and everything else. So I just wanted to make it a whole lot simpler. And my interest in writing comes from having written short stories back in high school. So when I wanted to pursue entrepreneurship, this was why I wanted to explore this area, and figured out there were a lot of problems to solve. So that's how I got started with Storyorigin.
Cool. I mean, I'm so grateful for this. I'm a mom and I'm married and I have got 3 children. And I have to say, I have this checklist of all the things that I've got to do. And then it's like, oh, and I'm too scared to even drink more than 1 cup of coffee a day, because the to-do list fills me with so much anxiety that the caffeine puts me into overload. So I love the fact that everything is in one place. So tell people why building a newsletter database is so incredibly important. We kind of think, oh, we write the book and then masses of people will buy it and we'll be sipping cocktails in the Caribbean because we'll make so many royalties, so much royalty income. But that's not really the reality. The reality is that you actually have to work it as a business in order for it to pay you as a business. So tell us about why that newsletter is so important.
Yeah. So if you compare sort of your different routes for reaching out to your audience, you have social media platforms and basically advertising, right? So you could pay for ads on Amazon, or you could pay for ads on Facebook. The issues that you run into those is that bid prices on those platforms keep increasing over the years. As more authors get into the field, it gets more and more expensive to advertise and to reach your audience on those platforms. And then the other thing is, even if you build a following on a platform like Facebook and you have a bunch of subscribers, fans on your author Facebook page, if you make a post to your author Facebook page, somewhere around 1 to 3% of your fans are going to see that post, right? So a very small number, probably even lower than 1 to 3% at this point, to be honest, depending on how actively you engage people on your fan page. So it's very difficult to both build an audience on those platforms and then also to keep them engaged on those platforms without paying a lot more money and continuing to pay money. The value of having a mailing list in sending out newsletters is that email is a distribution channel that nobody really owns, right? So you don't have to pay someone in order to email someone else, right? So there are companies that will help you manage those mailing lists, and you pay for those services, but it's more like a service, not something where you're really having to pay to reach your own audience. And the open rates that you get on those emails can be somewhere between 30 and 50%, generally speaking, as long as you're making sure that you're maintaining a good list and you're engaging them on a semi-regular basis. You can get even higher open rates as well. So, you're able to own that direct line of communication to your readers is really what it's all about. So the power of a mailing list is going to be there and stick around for a very long time, just because it's a direct line of communication that you can own to your readers that no one can really take away from you.
What I like about the product as well is that what people don't always understand is that Amazon, which is what a lot of new authors play at, every single person that buys your book from Amazon is actually Amazon's customer and not your customer. And for those people who would go to a local retailer for whatever reason, when you go and you buy a packet of soup or a pair of shoes or that kind of thing, the store owner is not running back to the manufacturer and saying, oh, by the way, Evan bought a Parker pen today. You should reach out to him. No, they want to be able to control that. And with the amount of new authors that are coming out all of the time, you can actually find yourself actually not seen at all on the Amazon platform. So sending out that newsletter means that you retain that customer and you control the communication that goes out to them. So that's something that really excites me. Okay, now tell us some of the functionalities of it. When I open it up and I saw all of the things, I'm like, oh, there's so much. But break it down for us. What are the main things that people can expect when they start with Storyorigin?
Yeah, so just like we were talking about before about why I got started Storyorigin in the first place was there were so many different platforms. I decided to bring it all, so it's sort of a one-stop shop, but it can definitely make it a list of features on your dashboard, and you'll say, oh, I'm not sure which feature to use. For authors who are just starting out, who haven't built a mailing list yet, there's really just sort of two features that I would say that you should focus on from the get-go. The first is the reader magnet feature. And what a reader magnet is, for those who are unfamiliar with that concept, is it's typically a short story prequel to your series or book. And usually it's in the range of 10 to 20,000 words. There's a bunch of reasons that's sort of that's sort of the standard that people use in terms of like wanting to increase read-through rate, making sure that the reader feels like they're getting enough out of it, and all of these other things. So you don't have to do that, though. You can use something else as a reader magnet, either like a preview version, full book, or you can use a full book or an even shorter story. But that reader magnet is essentially a story that way to your audience for free whenever they sign up to your mailing list. And so it gives people a reason to sign up to your mailing list. And the reader magnet feature on Storyorigin essentially handles creating a beautiful landing page for people to sign up to get that reader magnet. And then Storyorigin and so you don't have to worry about helping the reader get the file on whatever their preferred reading device is. So that's sort of the underlying feature that helps you to build your mailing list. And then the way that you go about sort of multiplying your reach is through group promotions. So group promotions are where you and a handful of other authors will get together. Let's say you, me, and 20 other sci-fi, fantasy, romance, mystery, what have you, authors will get together in a group we all list our books on a single landing page. We all list our reader magnets on a single landing page. And then we all drive our own traffic to that landing page. And so some of your readers are going to see my book and then join my mailing list. Some of the people that follow me on Facebook or that are on my newsletter will see your book and join your mailing list. And so we all sort of build up our mailing lists together. So those are really the two steps that I would say you should focus on if you're just starting out.
I love the whole thing with the reader magnet. I've actually got two reader magnets. The one is because I write medieval fantasy, and the first one is an explanation of the different types of dragons that I've got in my book series. So you can find out their size, their culture, a whole bunch of things like that. And then because my second book has come out or is on pre-order, I've put in the first 3 chapters of that book, and it's starting to even out that the same, it equals out the same amount of people that go for the first magnet go for the second magnet. And a preconception that some of the people in South Africa that I've engaged with, and I'm pretty sure it is a typical standard with other people, is they think my list is so small, no one's going to want to share with me. And people who come from the corporate environment, they have like this feeling that like it's like a dog-eat-dog world out there for everyone, but that's actually not true. The author community I found have been the most generous in terms of sharing and their knowledge. When I started, I had 68 people on my list, and I was able to have people who have a list of over 5,000 accepted me into their swaps. Because they really know their pain of starting, fresh. So I really, really like that functionality. Okay, Evan, let's chat about a couple of other things. All right. Firstly, besides what we've already discussed, are there any specific tips that you can give to new authors that are engaging on the platform?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I would say is if you're just starting out, the best thing to do would be go to just the tutorials section on Storyorigin. And then there are a couple of guides there. One is to building your mailing list. So talking about some of what we've been talking about now. And then there's also a guide to finding reviewers as well. So I would check out those guides just if you're new to this and you don't understand how all of the sort of pieces fit together.
Let's speak about reviews, because that's one of the biggest challenges. So when you go on and you've loaded a book for review, what are the kind of pitfalls that you get when it deals with reviews? Because I've had a couple of people that have said they want to review my book and then you don't get the reviews. So
Right.
You've got a couple of things that are put into place to be able to manage that. What is that?
Yeah, so we talked about the review magnets feature before. That's for building your mailing list. And then there's the review copies feature, which is separate, which you can use for as essentially an application page where people can apply to get your review copy. And then you as the author have complete control over who you approve or reject for those review copies. And so the people that you approve for review copy will be able to actually download the whole book. And when they make that request for a review copy, they say where they're going to leave a review for it. So if you have the book on Amazon and Goodreads and BookBub and you're looking for reviews there, when the person requests a review copy, they would say which of those places they're actually able to leave a review or planning to leave a review. So when you look at that request, you can see also their profiles from those places. So people have reviewer profiles on Amazon, Goodreads, and BookBub. So Storyorigin gives you the link to their reviewer profiles before you need to accept or reject them. So you can have a good idea of, okay, does this person actually read books in my genre? Let's say you're writing steamy romance and all this person has reviewed is cozy romance. Well, you might want to reject that application just because it seems like they might not actually understand what genre it is that the book is, and you don't want to end up having someone feel committed to leave a review for your book when it's not really the genre that they're going to enjoy anyway. And then the other thing you can do is by checking their reviewer profiles is make sure that they've actually left reviews in the past. If they have a reviewer profile and they've never reviewed a book on Goodreads or BookBub or Amazon before, you can be relatively sure that they're probably going to be not leave a review for your book either. So you might not want to accept them to your review team. And then Storyorigin also tells you, okay, how many review copies have they been approved for before through Storyorigin? And then how many of those review copy processes have they completed? So if they've said they'll review 10 books on Goodreads and they've only reviewed 2, then they'll have a 20% completion rate on Goodreads, and you'll know, okay, this is probably not someone that I want to accept to my review team. So Storyorigin gives you a lot of information about those requests from reviewers so that you know whether or not this is someone that you want to join your review team beforehand. Even with the amount of vetting, though, I would say, depending on your vetting process, even if it's pretty stringent, I would say you probably shouldn't expect more than 40% of reviewers to leave a review of the book within 4 weeks of having been approved for review copy. Life tends to get in the way. Some people, they might have forgotten to read about it, and then Storyorigin will automatically send them a reminder email after 2 weeks, so that you don't have to handle that sort of email follow-up with reviewers. But even so, they might just, I just got this reminder email. Now I have to go read it and leave a review, right? So yeah, those are the things I would note about the review copies feature.
Well, speaking about the reminders, I find that the Storyorigin application is like having my own PA, because I get the reminder, you have a newsletter to go out today. And I get reminders to tell me that someone has been accepted into one of the promos, or that I've been accepted into one of the promos. And that makes a big difference, because we tend to be all over the place, particularly if you are a part-time author. It's very overwhelming to try and do all of those bits. So I'm really grateful that I've got that, because generally I'm the person in the family that reminds everyone else what to do. And then sometimes I forget to do the things I'm supposed to do. So I love that functionality. Do you have any, I know you have shared some success stories on the Facebook page, but are there any particular ones that really jump out to you?
There are authors that have had a ton of success with Storyorigin. Just in the past week, I've had 2 different authors that posted in the Storyorigin authors Facebook group that they reached 30,000, or it's not 30,000, 3,000 signups to their reader magnets through Storyorigin. So that's always super awesome. And the way that those authors did it was through a combination of, just joining group promotions like we talked about before. But another great way is organizing your own group promotions as well. And the benefit there is you have in the group promotion, books can get featured spots so that they're listed at the top of the page and their book covers appear a little bit bigger. If you're the organizer of the group promotion, then you get to set which books in get that featured spot. So if you create a group promo, you can make sure that your books appear at the top of the page all the time. If you're just joining group promotions, the books are randomly placed every single time someone visits the page. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, am I joining late? Am I going to be at the bottom or anything? It's always randomized. But if you're the organizer, you can make sure that your book always appears at the top. So yeah, those authors had a lot of success both through joining and then organizing their own group promotions. And then there have been authors as well before. One was working in a box set, and they were trying to get onto the USA Today's bestseller list. And she had been organizing all of her newsletter swaps, which is something we haven't talked about yet. But newsletter swaps are a direct one-to-one cross promotion. I include your book in my next newsletter, you include my book in your next newsletter. So that's another type of cross promotion that you can arrange on Storyorigin. A lot of authors previous to Storyorigin were doing this through some combination of messaging people on Facebook or using Facebook groups, and then Google Forms and Bitly for tracking links and all of these other things, and spreadsheets. Storyorigin simplifies all of that. So this author who had been doing it through all of those other means joined Storyorigin, and then her and the other people from the box set that were trying to get on the USA Today bestseller list, they all worked together, and she got a bunch of swaps for them set up through Storyorigin, and they ended up getting onto the USA Today bestseller list. So that was really cool. But there are a ton of other success stories as well. And in the Storyorigin authors Facebook group, there's also a case studies tag. So if you click on that case studies tag, you can actually just see posts from other people and hear about what did they actually do, like what were the steps that they took to either get more reviews, increase their sales, and other achievements.
What I want to share with people who are brand new is that Storyorigin has got a couple of integrations with different email service providers. And so I'm on MailChimp. I don't know what all of the others are, but the cool thing about it is with the integration, every time someone clicks onto one of my reader magnets and subscribes, Storyorigin automatically feeds it through to MailChimp. So my newsletter ends up updating, or my database ends up updating by itself. And then all that I do is after I've sent a newsletter out, either that day or the next day, I then click on a little thing where it actually updates your statistics as well. So that's pretty cool, because then I can see how successful that particular campaign was for me. And it also then helps, that particular feature helps me to choose who I'd like to do a swap with next time. But can you tell us, besides MailChimp, which is what I'm using, what other service providers do you integrate with?
Yeah, so Storyorigin actually integrates with 9 different email service providers. And you don't have to use one of the integrated email service providers on Storyorigin. If you create a reader magnet on Storyorigin, you can always download a CSV of the signups that you got from it and then upload it to any email service provider that you choose to use, even if Storyorigin doesn't have an integration. So the integrations are super valuable, though, like you said, where when someone signs up, Storyorigin will just automatically send that reader's info directly to whichever email list that you want. So you don't have to worry about, downloading, uploading files and all this stuff. It's just all automatic. So it saves a lot of time. But Storyorigin has integrations with MailChimp, MailerLite, SendFox, ActiveCampaign, Aweber, ConvertKit, Email Octopus, Author.email, and Sendy. So there's a ton of integrations available. So hopefully one of those providers can meet your needs for sending emails.
There you go, my sound disappeared. Thanks very much for that. What's also so super cool about the whole program is that it just, besides the fact that it just absolutely simplifies your life, when you are with certain service providers, and I don't know about others, but definitely with MailChimp, I can do a little map, what they call a click map. So when I look at my email, I can see how many people clicked on this and how many people clicked on that. And I'm finding that those cross promos are actually getting really good traffic. I can even say, well, this type of genre is getting more than others. And there was one cross promo that I'd run for probably about 6 weeks. And when I saw that it was no longer getting any clicks, because obviously all of my audience are, have already clicked on there, then I dropped that one, because I usually only like to have two direct swaps and 2 cross promos, so that my email doesn't get like completely cluttered with just lots of advertising. So if you've got that kind of thing with your service provider, then it's really cool that you can trace it back, because everything has got a link. Now, the one thing that I didn't get, and I haven't tried that yet, is what are those promo links that you have on some of the cross promos?
So are you referring to the tracking links that you get with a group promo or a newsletter swap?
It's on the right-hand side. It's like a little black green button that you can include some kind of a promo code or something like that.
I see. Yeah. So if those are for affiliate tags. So if you are an Amazon affiliate, which, you know, if you're just starting out, I would say wait a little bit before you start doing join the Amazon affiliate program. But when you if you join the Amazon affiliate program, essentially adding your tags. Whenever someone clicks through on a Storyorigin, like a universal book link where it's taking them to a retailer, if that visitor is going to the Amazon page, Storyorigin will automatically add the affiliate tag that you included. And so if that person makes a purchase on Amazon, you'll get a commission for that sale from Amazon. So it's a way to make a few extra bucks. But the other really important part of it is that when you sell things with your affiliate tag, it gives you a little bit more tracking data about where your sales are coming from that you can really only get if you're an Amazon affiliate. So that's another really cool piece to using those tags.
So you would then create an affiliate tag for that author on your Amazon affiliate account and then put that in. And do you use the short link or which kind of link do you use? Because I do know some people who are with Amazon affiliates.
So you will still always use, if you're in a cross promotion, you'll still always use whatever tracking link that you use for the that you get for the cross promotion, and your tag will automatically be added. If you've just added the tag to one of your universal book links on Storyorigin, then you just use your normal Storyorigin universal book link. And when a reader clicks through, it'll automatically take them to the correct Amazon storefront, which is sort of the value of those universal book links. But it'll also take them the correct storefront for a number of other retailers. It takes them to, you know, like, for example, if you're in the UK, amazon.co.uk, or in America, amazon.com, etc.
Okay, thank you for that. The last question that I wanted to ask you, second last question actually, how long did it take you to build this? Because I have watched one of your other interviews and it was more than just a few months. And, you know, sometimes we can't even commit to running around the block, but you have, you've really been gunning for it for quite some time and added enormous value. How long has that taken you?
Yeah, so the initial version of Storyorigin launched in open beta in April of 2018. And basically all that you could do at that point was create a reader magnet. So you would get that landing page and you could integrate with MailChimp and MailerLite. So those were, that was all you could do. And then over the past couple of years, I've added all of those other features that we've talked about: review copies, group promotions, universal book links, things that we haven't talked about, audio promo codes, the goal tracker, you know, trying to make Storyorigin into that one-stop shop. Because, you know, while at the outset, my idea was to build a one-stop shop, I didn't want to wait until I had built all of those features to actually release something and get people using it. So I've sort of have a very iterative approach to building Storyorigin, where, you know, I created just like that one feature, released it, people started using it, and then I've just added to it over the years. And I have my own mailing list. And so I keep people up to date who are authors on Storyorigin. I keep them up to date with what are the new features that I've added, or integrations, or how am I rearranging things to make it easier to navigate, or make you click less, or what have you.
One other feature which I've just discovered, I don't know how long you've been using it, but it's very important for me, is you've got a tracking service in terms of goals. So I put in how many words I want to write, and I start adding in my daily word count, which I'm trifle behind with. But what's great about it is that it actually estimates, what my writing curve is. I can put down when I'd like the book to be finished, and it will then tell me how many words I'm supposed to be writing daily in order to reach that target. And I love that because, as a new author, what sometimes happens is you need to have that accountability, but your current circle of friends are not the ones that are encouraging you. In fact, most authors, when they're struggling to kind of get those first sales in, then family members will say to you, well, why don't you get a real job? This thing is now not working out for you. And then you get too scared to share with people what your progress is. So I love the fact that this has got something that keeps us accountable and that we can do goal tracking with. Is there any other new features that you're planning to bring out for this?
There's definitely some, there's a to-do list that is a mile long with Storyorigin. So I'm always working on something new. I'm not quite sure what the next major feature is that I'm going to release. There's a few different things that I'm sort of deciding between doing. But yeah, I mean, Storyorigin never stops growing and getting better in trying to make the user interface super friendly. So yeah, it's a complicated balancing act to make sure that people don't get too overwhelmed when they're first joining Storyorigin, but then also having all the tools there that you would ever want to be able to use as an author.
Super. Well, last thing, how do people sign on to it?
Yeah, so people can visit storyoriginApp.com. And then you just sign up there, and you'll be able to, once you're logged in, just hit the top right corner and you can go to your author dashboard and you can see all the various features. And each feature on Storyorigin has like a little explainer box on that tab so that you can understand what the feature does. There will be like a link to a tutorial video and maybe a link to a guide as well to understand how it works together with other stuff. So there's a lot of resources there to sort of help you get started.
Super. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Guys, if you want to get more videos like us, please hit the subscribe button and comment, because if you comment, then that just helps us to grow the channel, and then you can spread the love forward to a couple of other people who really need to hear more about author chats. Evan, I really so value your time, and I love what you've done with Storyorigin. It really revolutionized my life, and I know that everyone who watches this is going to get major value, and you're going to get some success stories coming out of South Africa really soon. Thanks so much. Bye for now.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Pleasure. Bye.